Selecting dependencies. So, so you guys obviously sort of web development, all that kind of stuff. Are we talking JavaScript, Node, PHP, HTML, CSS? So I guess roughly you've got front-end developers and you've got back-end developers. Front-end deal with generally HTML, style sheets, JavaScript. Back-end, you're talking probably programming languages like PHP, .NET, Node. But to be honest with you, those kind of definitions are starting to blur a bit. And the reason they're starting to blur is because of a lot of applications now built using full stack JavaScript. So previously, you've got a lot of front enders now who are using what they used to use on the front to effectively code the back end as well. So things like Node have been used now by PayPal. PayPal used to, their code used to be horrible. It used to be written in PHP and their API was awful. Over the last few years, it's much better. They've literally become a new company because they've started to use, I think in large part because of the development techniques they've started to adopt, which is also things like using Node. Now, programming languages, they kind of come and go. PHP was the hot thing a few years ago. Node, full-stack JavaScript is probably the hot thing now. You've got variations on that coming through. You've got TypeScript. You've got all these frameworks, Angular, React. There's a million things out there. And I couldn't actually say to you right now, go and learn this, because tomorrow it may well be out of date. So why this kind of comes into selecting dependencies is that with any application now, obviously there's a wealth of open source software out there. There's kind of things that can help you quickly achieve a goal without having to write all the code yourself. But you have to be very, very careful about what you use. A lot of it's open source. GitHub, anyone sort of use GitHub at all, or? No? GitHub is a crucial part of what we do. It's a versioning system. So all code that we write kind of goes onto GitHub. And any change we make, it kind of creates like a new version. So at any point, if we want to roll back and look at the history of what's changed, we can go back to a point, we can branch off and kind of re-merge back in. So it effectively stores the entire history of an application's code from beginning to end. And it's very, very important in how we work these days. But where this kind of fits into the whole open source thing is because there's so much open source stuff out there now, you don't have to kind of rewrite the book really every time. If you're starting to build an application, people now, websites, a lot of times they'll use WordPress. The reason they use WordPress is because it's very, very powerful. It's very, very good for building websites. It's pre-made. Why would you code everything yourself in a CMS when it's one of the best CMSs in the world is already there for you to use free of charge?